All right, 3, 2, 1. Welcome in. For the
$1 million radio, baby.
$1 million radio, where we make mistakes and we own up to it. Episode 14. Welcome in.
So Skylar's a little he's a little upset right now because we started recording 20 minutes in or so, and he didn't have his camera on.
Yep.
So he's a little moody, a little on the edge right now. But
we're good.
We're just gonna get right into it. We've had a great weekend of college football. It's been a banger of a season so far, and we're getting towards the end of it, which is so sad. But
yeah.
We're going to go over all the games that we watched and all the ones that we didn't watch as well. And we're going to go into what that means for the conference championships coming up and for the committee to go through.
Yeah. So, like you said, it was a great weekend of college football. The Vols, man. Shout out to Vols. Shout out to Vols everywhere. I don't know if you knew this, Jacob. You might have, because I brought it up about 10 minutes ago. But Tennessee Volunteers, not official. But the Tennessee Volunteers are in the college football playoff. Let's go.
I love it.
Been waiting all year to say that.
What happened? I did not expect this. So happy. Nico's a great freshman quarterback.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so Nico had one bad throw against Vandy. Other than that, absolutely killed him. It felt good to see him play with some fire in his eyes, get worked up a little bit. He's talking trash to somebody in the end zone after dotting the defense. Like, he was running the ball. He kept it. Like I said, he doesn't just get tackled. He gets absolutely walloped every time he has the ball, which kind of worries me a little bit, especially he did have a concussion a few weeks ago. But overall, Nico played good. Dylan Sampson did not find the end zone, but still ran for $178. Dante Thornton had 2 first-half touchdowns before he did not return in the second half, had some type of injury. We didn't have Brew McCoy that game either. So we showed up, we showed out. Mike Matthews is going to be a stud. Caleb Webb is going to be a stud. Chris Brazzell had a hell of a game.
McCoy did great.
McCoy on the defense,
it's a team effort.
Absolutely. And, 5 minutes in, we find ourselves down 14-0. And I'm just thinking, as all other Vol fans are thinking, dang, we really screwed the pooch again. It's not going to...
imagine being spoiler, Vanderbilt playing spoiler to us on a potential college football playoff.
And as I said last week, it was going to be the most Tennessee thing to ever happen is if we had the clear shot of making the playoffs, and Vandy was the one that stopped us. And that's what it looked like. They had the opening kickoff, ran it 100 yards to the end zone, touchdown, 7-0.
We get Junior Sherrill, baby, Sherrill.
We get the ball right after that. I think we make it to the 15-yard line. They hit us pretty hard. And then Dylan Sampson had his fumble. They got the ball short field, went down, scored another touchdown, 14-0. I'm just like,
upset
my
watch.
Goodness. Yeah.
Upset watch.
But whenever a team goes up like that, that early in the game, everything's going right. You're up here. You can only go down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Unless you just hold your foot to the gas the whole time, which Vanderbilt's not capable of that. I didn't think Vanderbilt was capable of that. Obviously they, versus Alabama it worked for them, but versus an in-state rival and someone who's seen what they were doing to Alabama, I didn't think that it was going to last. It was not sustainable.
And so we answer the 14-0 deficit with a touchdown of our own. Great drive by the offense, capped off by a Dante Thornton touchdown. And then they got the ball, and this was their first drive. They had 14 points already, but this was their first drive starting in their own territory, back towards the 25 or so. And they had to work it all the way down the field, and then we held them to a field goal. And whenever I saw that happen, I was like, okay, all right, we're settled in. We just need to get some points on offense, and we should have a chance to stay in this game, and our defense is gonna hold them for us. And that's exactly what they did. After Vanderbilt went up 14-0, they scored 9 points the rest of the game. And that's a testament to our defense, 100%.
Yeah, so. It was honestly, besides Nico throwing a really bad underthrown interception, he had a hell of a performance. I did think on that one throw to Dante Thornton, I mentioned it to you earlier that Squirrel White, man, was wide open on the sideline right there. And I'm hoping, I don't think if we play elite teams, that are better than Vanderbilt, I'm not sure if that look will be there again. So I'm not gonna be pressed. I'm not gonna be pressed about it. But if for some reason we're running it a lot and they bite on it, and all of a sudden there's someone open, Nico has to make that look, and he has to make that pass. Has to be accurate if we want to advance and win and potentially get past the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to see what happens this weekend. We've got the conference championships this weekend, and then I'm almost certain that it's going to be a selection Sunday like it is in college basketball. Not sure if it's in the afternoon or in the evening at night, but we should know by Sunday what the official bracket, none of these projections are going to matter after this weekend. And so hopefully when we film the episode next Monday, it's going to be one of the biggest episodes that we've had all year, what we've been working towards all year, and we should know who is going to be in and who's going to be out. Who's going to be going to a bowl game and who's going to be playing for the national title. Tennessee is going to be one of those teams, like it or not. So I'm excited for that. The question now is, like, will we get to actually host a game, or are we going to go on the road to Ohio State or Penn State, Indiana, one of those teams, I'd say. I don't want to go to Georgia, not because I don't want to play them again, just because, like, first round, this is the only shot that we have to see teams like Ohio State come to Neyland or Tennessee go to a Penn State or something like that. We're not going to get that ever in the regular season. So I'm hoping that this 12-team playoff format, round one, teams get to host. I'm hoping this is going to be the standard going forward these next few years, where these out-of-conference matchups are going to start happening. And who knows, maybe we start making some rivalries. Maybe we see Penn State a couple years in a row or something like that, and then going forward, maybe we start scheduling them in the regular season. Who knows?
We'll see. And another team that is going to be contending for it, Georgia.
Yeah.
Now, on Friday, we saw Georgia Tech and Georgia go at it. And for the first half, it was all Georgia Tech. First half, they go up 17-0, and all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, damn, Carson Beck is...
Come on, man. Come on, don't do me like
that. He's choking again, It's another choke job. But, nope, you can't ever count Kirby out. We saw them versus Alabama come back, down 28-0. And it's if you have a lead on Georgia like that in the first half, especially, it's not sustainable. You better expect them to come out the second half punching and firing on all cylinders. And they did. And so it ended up being, I believe, 27-13 with about 6 minutes left to go. And Haynes King just gets absolutely demolished by, I think it was a defensive end or something. I thought maybe that was targeting. I'm not going to lie. It looked like helmet. I don't know what targeting is necessarily now, but looked like it was a bit helmet to helmet. Looked like a personal foul, if I'm being honest. But besides the point, he fumbled the ball. Georgia got all the momentum, and they went down, and I think that was when they tied the game up. So, yeah, it just shows you how quick momentum can change, in a game just like that. So then they go, obviously everyone knows they go into 8 overtimes. If you tuned in any time between 7 and 12 midnight, you were able to watch the game. So,
8 overtimes. 8 overtimes is crazy.
And it honestly, it had no implications on the SEC championship. Georgia already clinched that spot. Georgia Tech ain't even in the conference, but it would have significantly impacted it if Georgia had went and lost and then went to the SEC championship and lost. That would have been a complete game changer because they weren't going to let a 4-loss team into the 12-team playoff. I mean, that's just ridiculous, So, great game. Georgia gets a win going into the SEC championship. Speaking of SEC championship, Texas. What do you think about Texas? What do you think about Texas A&M?
Texas and Texas A&M. It seemed like I'm not like the highest on Texas still. I don't think that. I mean, obviously they're one of the best teams in the country, one of the best teams in the SEC. They should be playing for this conference championship. But also, if you look at their schedule, the only big game that they played all year was Georgia. They lost at home by 15 points. And their only other big game of the whole year was, I mean, maybe you can count the Michigan game, but, you know, with it being week 2, week 1, something like that. But we didn't know how bad Michigan was at the time. But their only other big game was this game against Texas A&M, who we've been saying all year, nothing but frauds. They scored 7 points the whole game. Texas
Not even
only
their
scored.
Offense.
No. Texas even scored only 17 points against a fraudy Michigan team, Texas A&M team that I definitely didn't want to see in the SEC championship. I thought it was absolutely crazy that they could still make it if they were to beat Texas at home. But no, as far as Texas goes, it'll be a good game. It'll be closer than I think what we saw from the first matchup between Texas and Georgia. That final was 30-15. I think Quinn Ewers threw like 3 picks early in that game.
He didn't do much better versus A&M.
Yeah, he had a couple costly turnovers there in the red zone. But as far as this game goes, Saturday night or Saturday afternoon, Texas is favored 2.5 in this rematch. Like we said before, it's hard to beat a good team twice. Texas is a good team, and Georgia is kind of an up and down team. So it just really depends on what Georgia team comes to play this Saturday.
I do think though, this is Texas's chance to legitimize themselves. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I think, you know, like you're saying, their schedule's not, you know, it doesn't have the most strength to it. And the one time that, I think one of their best quality wins was versus Arkansas. You know, so
yeah, I think that's
what they've. I think that's what they've listed as like a quality win versus Arkansas.
Yeah.
So for them to go and lose to Georgia in the regular season, this is a chance for them to actually shut people like myself up and say, "Hey, we can beat Georgia. We can beat the best of them. We're legit. We're a legit SEC team. We beat Texas A&M by 10 points. I mean, that's not saying a lot in my opinion.
Yeah,
but." Like you said, they are frauds and everything. So I totally agree with that. I also thought it was insane that they could be playing for a first round bye in the 12-team playoff. Like Texas A&M, what? Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Ranked number 20 in the country.
Exactly. But Texas shut them up. Now it's rematch, Texas versus Georgia. Oh man, that's the SEC championship right there. I'm gonna go with Georgia again though.
Yeah. I think Georgia is the better battle-tested team. They've definitely had a harder schedule this year. They do have 2 losses on the year, but they did beat Texas at Texas. I think that is
and it's going to be in Athens.
Well, it's going to be in Atlanta. That's where they played the Falcons Superdome.
My bad.
That's where the SEC championship is played, but a neutral site.
You get the point.
Neutral site, but it is in Georgia. You know, it is one of those things. It's going to be pretty much a home game for Georgia. Not between the hedges, but in the dome where the Falcons play. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know exactly where I'm going in this game. I don't see any of the percentages on, who's putting money where. Texas minus 2.5, over under 48.5. I'm scared to take Texas minus 2.5, but I'm also scared to take Georgia, so I'm not sure.
I don't know. You have, each team's coming in with a win, coming from the previous week. But you have Georgia, who's in a more comfortable environment. It's their home state, and Texas is going to be traveling. Honestly, I would take Georgia money line. if I'm being honest.
So that's plus 114 right now. Just to be different, I'm going to say Texas has they are a very mature team for sure. They've got a lot of juniors and seniors on their team that's led the way. Quinn Ewers he's a good quarterback. They were in a similar spot last year when they were still in the Big 12. They won the championship. Only loss came in like week 1 to Alabama, and they made it all the way to the 4-team playoff. So they played in big games like this at neutral site fields. Just to be different, give me Texas minus 2.5.
I like that. I mean, I get it. I don't think that's going to happen, but
I'm not confident in it. I'm not confident, but I will play that. Texas minus 2.5.
I thought Texas, was it the year before Texas and Alabama?
I think they played 2 years in a row.
And Texas won one of them at the beginning of the year. It was a big shock. It was like,
that was 2 years ago, and I think last year they lost to them. I could be wrong. They had one loss coming into the
two years ago. 2 years ago was 2022, and Alabama versus Tennessee. They were both undefeated coming in. So I thought last year maybe Texas had beaten Alabama because it was a big shock.
Could have been somebody else.
Regardless, it's a good matchup. Give me Georgia by 2 touchdowns.
Wow. 2 touchdowns. I mean, you called Michigan last week, man. I'm not going to lie. So,
speaking of.
Yeah, that was all hell broke loose in the Michigan-Ohio State game, the game, as they call it.
Not during the game, though. That was kind of a slugfest. I mean, it was final score 10-13. I mean, how does that happen?
Michigan came to play defensively. Ohio State had a couple big interceptions that it looked like the tide was going to turn. Held Michigan out the end zone a couple times, but they just couldn't get that offense going. And Michigan's defense played very well. I was just thinking, they scored that field goal at the end with still like a minute to play, maybe a little less. And I just felt like Ohio State was at least going to get a field goal and tie it. But Ryan Day beat Michigan the first year he was hired. Since then, he's gone 0-4, 1-4 record against Michigan. If you look at, their record under him, he's only had like 5 or 6 losses, something like that. And some of those are in the playoffs, but 4 losses to a Michigan team. And this year, Michigan's 6-5 coming into the game. I don't know, man. How do you lose that?
Honestly, when I was watching Joel Klatt's show earlier, he was saying now Michigan made Ohio State play on their terms, on their own terms, and that was, we're going to make Ohio State run the ball, which they can't do, and we're gonna run the ball, and we also are going to clamp them up on defense when they do try to run it. So that created, obviously, like I said, it was a slugfest. And at the end, with a few minutes left, if it's still tied and everything, it's a 1-score game. Michigan, they're confident that they're going to win, and that's what ended up happening. If you're Ohio State, man, you got to play your game. You got to pass it. You got to go on the perimeter. You can't be trying to do something that you're not good at. You've never been good at it, and you're not going to be good at it versus your biggest rival. So why are you playing like that?
Yeah.
But
yeah, it was go ahead.
At the end of it, it's just like with Ohio State getting all mad that Michigan was trying to plant the flag. It's like, man, you should have played during the game and prevented that from happening.
The mace came out. Dude, there were people getting maced on the field. That was wild to see. And
not just like civilians.
One guy had his
shiesty
actual play.
It was players. It was players getting maced. Like, it's not like it's like a guy that's streaking on the field during the game that gets tackled and maced or something. No, this was players that had played the game, suited up in pads. They were in tears. And when I saw it on TV, I didn't know what had happened. I was like, dang, is it that emotional? Like, I get, like, you've had a rough season and you just beat Ohio State, but, like, are you really crying about it? No, it was pain.
Yeah, they got maced.
Yeah, and I've not been maced directly. I've been in, like, the vicinity of it. If it doesn't touch you, it still hurts. It's awful. So
the college football, football in general this weekend, we saw so many fights break out. It was rivalry weekend. That wasn't the only flag that got planted on somebody else's stadium. And then, yesterday we saw Trevor Lawrence get a cheap shot from Azeez Al-Shaair, and the Jags and Texans broke out in a fight. It was just emotions were running high this weekend.
And then George Pickens and whatever defensive back was on him, they were going at it the whole time.
Yeah,
it was just so many crash outs, man. You got to love it though. That's what makes it great. The emotion goes both ways. It's so high, but then obviously it gets so rough and in the trenches. And that's what you can really appreciate about it.
Yeah.
Man, so speaking of, we spoke of Ohio State and Michigan, and now Penn State has come up into the Big Ten championship because of that.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the conference championship games this weekend. We'll go ahead and start with, we already talked about Texas and Georgia. Like you said, Penn State and Oregon are battling it out for the Big Ten championship that will be in Indianapolis, Indiana, at the Colts facility. Oregon -3.5. And one thing I said earlier, Jacob, there's the biggest spread all weekend is Tulane -5.5 against Army Friday night. All these other games are almost a pick 'em, and I think that's going to leave the door open for a couple of these teams to get blown out, if you ask me.
Blown out.
I would not be surprised at all if it came in this game. Oregon -3.5 against Penn State. I don't think Oregon is they're undefeated. They're the deserving number one team in the country, but also I don't think they're the best team in the country. I don't think anybody's head and shoulders above everybody. But with them being undefeated, they deserve to be there. I will say this though. James Franklin's overall record is 123-55. James Franklin's record as a head coach against ranked opponents is 13-27. Guess what his record against top 5 teams is, Jacob?
Let me guess. Hold on. Against top 5 teams?
Yeah, James Franklin as a coach.
1-12.
Did you already see that or something? That's exactly right. 1-12.
What? No,
he is 1-12 against top 5.
No, dude, I'm being dead ass.
I'm being dead ass.
I'll share my screen right now.
No, you're good. I believe you. I believe you. That's just crazy you said that. 1-12 is
because I remember
correct.
him beating. I think he beat Ohio State once or something in the
past
decade, and 12 was just a number I pulled out my ass. unless it was a weird thing where you saw it somewhere and then you remember it somehow, but you don't remember seeing it. I don't know. I literally that's crazy. But
that's 100% correct. 1-12. Wow, so give me Oregon -3.5. I bet the Ducks blow the doors off of Penn State.
Yeah, Penn State's a fraud.
We said that all year.
How it happens. Yeah, and this is going to be their. If they lose, do you think they're out of the 12-team playoff?
No, they won't be. They only have one loss. Came 7 points to Ohio State. Pretty sure that was at home against Ohio State, but that's their only loss of the year.
It was.
I don't think that the playoff committee is going to count an extra loss against a team that plays in the conference championship. The only team that could lose this weekend and not make it still would be Clemson, in my opinion, in the ACC championship.
Oh no, I think
SMU.
Clemson's. I think they're definitely out if they lose.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's because they're not necessarily in right now, especially with the loss to South Carolina this weekend. But they do have a chance to get that automatic bid if they do beat SMU this weekend. Yeah. I am not sure that happens, but if they do, then they are in.
It very well could happen. I don't know. I've not watched SMU this year. I know that isn't this their first year in the ACC?
It is. They are -2.5 favorites against Clemson, over under 55.5.
I think Clemson's going to win.
You think Clemson's going to win against SMU?
I think so. I don't watch the SMU. I wouldn't know, but just based on
SMU has one loss. It came week 2 against BYU, who went on by, I think, like 3 points. And BYU obviously went on to be one of the last undefeated teams in the nation before these last couple weeks. But, so they've only got one loss. I'm pretty sure they beat teams like Louisville. Let me check their schedule.
I feel like Clemson is gonna beat the brakes off of them. I just don't know why I have that feeling. I could be completely wrong, of course, but I feel like Clemson coming off a loss after South Carolina, I'm pretty sure that they want it to get to the playoff that bad.
So SMU opened up with a 5-point win against Nevada, beat a small school handedly, lost to BYU 18-15. Then went on to beat TCU, Florida State, Louisville at Louisville, one at Stanford, one at Duke by 1 in overtime. Beat Pitt at home, Boston College at home, and then Virginia on the road. And then last week they beat Cal at home 38-6. So their strength of schedule is not great at all.
And their margin of victory is terrible, it seems like. Like, everything's a field goal.
For some of these teams, for sure. There are some blowouts, but as far as, like, I would say definitely Clemson has a bigger strength of schedule, if you will. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. You might be right. You might be onto something.
Give me Clemson. Give me Clemson by 10 points.
All right. I've gone against SMU a couple times, and I've lost both times.
But have they faced Clemson?
I mean, they haven't played Clemson this year, no. They beat teams that Clemson has lost to. Clemson lost to Louisville a couple weeks ago at the beginning of November. So that'll be interesting to see. I may not have a play for that one, but I will definitely. It's kicks off at 8 o'clock Saturday night, along with the Oregon and Penn State game at 8 o'clock. That is going to be the game I'm watching. I might have SMU Clemson on another TV or something, but we've already went through the Georgia and Texas game, SEC championship. I've got Texas minus 2.5. You've got Georgia money line.
Yep.
So
now another game that was honestly a banger was the Syracuse and Miami game. Did you watch that?
No, I didn't watch that one. I was at work.
Okay, so that was a really good game. I watched that one. Now,
very back and forth.
It was back and forth. I mean, at the beginning, Miami went up 21-0.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really back and forth then. But then the second half comes around, and Syracuse they stormed back. They ended up tying it up, 28-28. And then what got me was when I think wasn't it like 35-42 at one point. I think, it was 35-42. Miami goes for a field goal. It was like 4th and goal, and you have Cam Ward, and you go for a field goal with like 3 or 4 minutes left in hopes to get the ball back. I mean, you got Cam Ward. Why don't you just go for the touchdown? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
interesting. But
I guess you could say hindsight is 20/20, but I don't know. I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Miami make it because I think their offense is, something that I would like to see against some of these other teams to see how good Miami's offense is. But with this loss, if Clemson wins the ACC championship, there's no way Miami makes it because SMU and Clemson will be in. If SMU
you think SMU gets in if they lose?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, I mean, they're a one-loss team. They're in the playoff right now as we speak. And if they lose a conference championship, I don't think that they're going to necessarily count that against them unless Clemson just maybe blows them out the water. But I don't see that happening. SMU's got a lot of good athletes. But as far as Miami goes, if SMU wins and Clemson gets knocked out, because with their loss to South Carolina, I don't think that they're going to be in it tomorrow night in the top 12. Clemson's only shot to make it would be to win this game Saturday. for Miami, if that doesn't happen, Miami might still have a chance to make it, depending on how the projections come out tomorrow night. This last week, the last projection before we get the official bracket. So it'll be something to keep our eye out for. I don't think Miami is going to be able to make it. You just got to beat Syracuse. You got to beat Syracuse. You got to beat Georgia Tech. Those are their only 2 losses of the year, but with those 2 losses, both being in conference play, they don't get to play for that conference championship. And if I think if they were playing for that ACC title Saturday, then they would, no matter what happens, they'd be in. But I just don't see it happening no more.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like you said, you have to win those 2 games. If not one, you got to win the other. And to go out like that, it's not cutting it. So that definitely spices things up, because I'm hearing some talk about Alabama could make it in as the 12th seed.
I don't want to see that happen at all.
I don't want to see it, but
I don't think they're deserving.
I don't think so either. But I mean, you lose to Oklahoma 24-3. How does that help you? But apparently, it's either South Carolina or Alabama they're looking in. And,
I think South Carolina.
You had Lane Kiffin. Did you see what he tweeted today? Yeah. So you have him politicking. So it could be Ole Miss as well.
I think we just need one more play-in game.
I mean, for sure.
Put Ole Miss against South Carolina, since Alabama already beat South Carolina, and then have them duke it out. And if Ole Miss, I don't know how that would work, but anyways, I'd rather see South Carolina make it than Alabama or something.
Yeah, for sure. Just don't be shocked if Alabama's the last or the first team out looking in.
Yeah.
Just don't be shocked.
Yeah. You want to go ahead and take our break real quick? So we got about 5 minutes left, so we will take our little free Zoom break real quick, and we'll be back with more college football talk on $1 Million Radio.
This is Jacob with the $1 Million Radio. Make sure you like and subscribe and give us a share.
All right, we're back. Sorry about that. But anyways, Jacob, so we got 2 more games to talk about. We can start Friday night, 8 o'clock, a team we've been following all year, Boise State in a rematch with UNLV. Boise State minus 3.5 at home for the conference championship, Mountain West Conference. Like I said, it is a rematch. UNLV is one of the only teams that kind of held Ashton Jeanty in check this year. Boise played on the road in the first game, and I think we're favored by 4.5 points or so in that game on the road, and they won by 5. 29-24, I'm pretty sure. But I'm looking here at some of the stats from that game. Like I said, Ashton Jeanty has ran all over everybody this season except for UNLV. They held him to a season-low 3.9 yards a carry. His longest rush was 16 yards. In all 11 other games, Jeanty's longest rush bottomed out at 35 yards. So he's had a run of at least 35 yards in every game except for UNLV. There have been a couple games where Jeanty's been bottled up a little bit, but Alex Madsen has come in, their quarterback. He's had some games, some really good games from Madsen. 21 touchdowns, 3 interceptions on the year, over 2,500 passing yards, and 215 yards rushing on the on the ground. But yeah, so this is going to be, it's hard to beat a good team twice. We've said that time and time again. I think UNLV is a pretty good team for Mountain West Conference standards. Boise should have no problems in this game if they want to be a real contender for these playoffs. If they win, they're going to be in the top 4 seeds more than likely. And if they lose, it'll be a pretty big question if Boise State is able to make it or not. But I think Yeah, I think they should. Even with the loss, them being ranked number 10 right now, it's a conference championship game. Will they count that? I think they got to count it against some teams, but like we said earlier, Clemson is not in the top 12, so like that is their only chance to make the playoffs, for them to beat SMU in the championship game and get that automatic bid. But for Boise State, you're 11-1. Your one loss came to the number 1 team in the country, at Oregon, and it was a game where Boise could have easily won that. Ashton Jeanty ran for 190 yards and 3 touchdowns in that Week 2 game. So even if Boise were to lose this game, I don't think the playoffs should keep them out. Playoff committee. They are ranked number 10 in the current standings. We'll see tomorrow night if they maybe move up a little bit with, Miami dropping back and stuff like that. But or no, they were ranked number 11. They, in the playoff committee eyes, they were number 11, but now the AP poll has them ranked number 10 since that came out yesterday. So it'll be interesting to see. Give me Boise State -3.5 at home. Jeanty's final touches on a fantastic career and season here at Boise State before we get into these playoffs. Give me Boise State.
All right, I agree with everything you said. Literally, just I don't really have much to add on, but just give me Boise State by touchdown.
All right, I will go with you on that. I'll just take -3.5 since that's the line. But I am going with Boise State. Might as well. Jeanty for Heisman. Man, speaking of that, before we get into the Big 12 championship game this weekend, I saw the other day, Jacob, I looked at the Heisman, odds.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that over the last few days?
I've not looked at them, actually. I've not actually paid attention to that.
Travis Hunter is -10,000. Ashton Jeanty is number 2 +2,000. So they're basically saying Travis Hunter has wrapped it up and is going to be this year's Heisman winner.
Okay.
That would not make me happy.
That would not. Because it's not led to success, I mean, in my opinion. I mean, you could say for Colorado standards compared to what they were a few years ago, that's success. But Ashton Jeanty has put Boise State a lot of times on his own back into now potentially having a bye week in the 12-team playoff. So
Travis Hunter is the best player on their team, and Colorado. Let's see what their record is. They're 4th in the Big 12. This is not showing me what their record is. Hold on. Don't let me down. So they just beat Utah 49. No, that wasn't the last game. What was the last? 52-0 against Oklahoma State was this last weekend. So Travis Hunter, being the best player on his team, has led Colorado to a 9-3 record and a 25 overall ranking. Keep in mind, he plays both offense and defense. And Ashton Jeanty has led to an 11-1 season for the Broncos, only playing offense, only being a running back, and has had a record-setting season almost. The closest we've seen in my lifetime to somebody breaking Barry Sanders' record at Oklahoma State. So
it's impressive.
If it doesn't go to Ashton Jeanty, this Heisman award means nothing to me going forward, unless Tennessee were to get one finally. But I would hate to see it go to Travis Hunter. Nothing against Travis Hunter; he's a great player, but should definitely be in the top, 2 or 3. It should only be Jeanty and Hunter in the decision. But for the odds to be so skewed towards Travis Hunter, I mean, I don't get that. I don't get it at all.
Yeah. It's almost like, do you want to be a jack of all trades, good at, multiple things, or do you want to be great at one thing, Yeah. And I'm not saying like that Travis Hunter's not a great player, but is he great at one thing? Like, is he exceptional, like, elite at one thing? I don't know. I mean, he's really good at one thing.
It'll be interesting. It'll be
good
interesting to see like what he does come draft time, like what team picks him. Is he going to be a cornerback, wide receiver?
I think he'll be a cornerback.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, he's not the best receiver on his team. I mean, he's not probably the best receiver in the conference. You know,
he's not the best receiver. He's not the best defensive back. But the fact that he does both of them, somebody said it's a battle of snaps versus stats, meaning Travis Hunter is on the field 90% of the time to bring in all of his his stats. Ashton Genty only plays on offense, and he's just running all over everybody like we haven't seen in my lifetime.
Decades.
It's pretty crazy for the conversation to be so one-sided when you look at the odds like that. But I digress. We'll get back into the conference championship weekend, which Colorado will not be participating in. The Big 12 is going to see Iowa State and Arizona State, who has been on a tear the last few weeks. Arizona State -2.5 favorites, over under 50.5.
Yeah, Arizona State just came off beating Arizona by, it was like, 49-7?
Yeah, it was a blowout.
They are literally on a tear right now.
Arizona's they look not good, though.
But Arizona State looks like a really good team. That's going to be interesting. And I believe Iowa State, they beat Kansas State 29-21. So that kind of sets them up for a collision course. It's going to be a good game.
The Cyclones were one of the last undefeated teams midway through the season. They were, there's like 6 teams left, and they were one of them. Arizona State dropped a couple early, but have, like we said, turned it on here towards the end of the season. -2.5 for the Sun Devils versus the Cyclones. Iowa State ranked number 16. Arizona State ranked number 12. This is a battle for the final spot in the college football playoffs. Whoever wins this game will play on the road with whoever is ranked number 5 going into Sunday. So unless Arizona State wins convincingly, maybe they move them up a few spots. But this
Alabama
is the final. Yeah, this is the final spot. For a conference champion to make the playoffs. It's going to go to the Big 12, and I mean, I think it would be chaotic if Iowa State were to win. I would hate to go against Arizona State right now, though, with how well they've been playing. So this could go back to the point I had earlier, where these lines are so small that it will leave the door open for one of these favorites, or maybe even an underdog, to blow somebody out. But I'll take Arizona State -2.5 in this one.
I respect it. Yeah. I'd probably have him by like a touchdown or so, but
yeah,
that's a good line to cash in on. I mean, I think Arizona State's going to win outright. So yeah, I'm not really invested in that Big 12 championship too much. I mean, Arizona State, it's easy to keep up with them because they have been on a tear recently, but otherwise, we'll see whoever wins in the playoff, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for these projections to be over with, and to see, next week when we film here on Monday, that maybe, we will see what the final bracket is going to look like. Who's going to play who's going on the road. I'd love to see Tennessee host a game, but
3 teams to look out for.
Who's that?
Ole Miss, Alabama, or South Carolina. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm not saying they will. They could be one of those teams. If you look at their resumes each, they may be the outside team looking in. We'll see.
So we'll start to pivot from here into college basketball now. Jacob, I don't know if you saw this. Did you see the new AP poll for college basketball this week? Came out today.
I did not see the AP. I saw the net thing, which is what the ESPN supercomputer does with a lot of its data, and Tennessee came in at 1. But what about, is this the AP poll? Is this different?
AP poll's got us ranked at number 3 in the whole country.
You're kidding.
Number 3,
wow.
Tennessee. We're planning on going to the game tomorrow night. We host Syracuse, and I'll show it right now. Our uniforms for this week. The all-black unis are making their debut for the Tennessee basketball team. Dude. Looks sick. Crazy.
I cannot wait to go. I'm definitely going.
We're all black.
I mean, for number one, you got Kansas, and then Auburn, deservingly so. They're number 2, and then us at 3, and then Kentucky at 4, and then Marquette at 5. I mean, that's a solid first 5. You know, obviously Tennessee ran Baylor out the gym a few weeks ago during the Bahama game, and then UConn dropped significantly. UConn were they like the number 2 team in the country, and they dropped 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw where somebody said Dan Hurley was not taking his vacation to the Bahamas or wherever they were very well.
Yeah, I mean, literally, they're 5-3.
It was a compilation of him screaming on the sidelines. They lost to Dayton, Colorado, and Memphis at that tournament. Yep, so I don't think they did not win a single game in that tournament. Lost to Memphis by 2, lost to Colorado by 1, and lost to Dayton by 18 points.
Guess how many spots they dropped?
How many?
Just take 20. One guess. 23.
23? Yeah, they're ranked, 25 now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a serious drop-off.
Back-to-back national title winners.
It's not too late to obviously turn your season around, but, I mean, not looking good. Not looking good.
I don't know. I don't know what they lost from last year going into this year. Maybe they lost everybody. Maybe that's why they're struggling so early in the season. But you don't think a back-to-back national champion with a very good chance to make a type of run like that again this year would be losing to teams like Dayton. And
yeah, I mean, losing Donovan Clingan, losing Donovan Clingan kind of hurt them, I think, too.
Yeah.
Lose a little bit of that physicality and that size, but I didn't think it would hurt them this bad.
Yeah. So that's something to look forward to tomorrow night. Tennessee plays host to Syracuse. Syracuse is unranked, but that doesn't really mean a thing. Let's see
Historical basketball school.
They are. They are.
Alma mater of Carmelo Anthony. And his son, I don't know his son's name, but Anthony Jr. coming up. Yeah. He's going to be playing there too.
Tennessee is favored to win minus 19.5 points over under 145.5. 63% of the money, 53% of the bets are on Syracuse to cover. So I don't know if Tennessee wins by 20, but I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it.
We've been dominant. Chaz Lanier, he may be that X factor guy. I want to see a little more games out of him, but when we were playing Baylor, I mean, he had 15 straight points, I mean.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't straight because, you had Milicic. He came in with a free throw, but he hit five threes in a row. I mean, it was insane. I've never seen a player come out on a heater like that before. Not even Dalton Knecht. Dalton Knecht would kill you through the whole game, and methodically, he's like a predator in the best sense of the term. He's going to look at you. He says, "This is my court," and he owns it, and he does it the whole game. Chaz Lanier, he came out, set the team up for success, and he's like, "I'm going to contribute, obviously, but I set us up for greatness."
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see more games out of him, especially when conference play starts.
He should be our version of Dalton Knecht this year. It'll be interesting to see. Tennessee's come out, and we've raised some eyebrows here early in the season. Obviously, moving up. I think we were ranked number 12 coming into the year, and now we're all the way up to number 3. Let's hope that we can, keep this ball rolling here going into conference play 1 month from now. We're already in December. Happy December, by the way.
And not to dispute what you just said, I'm hoping, rather than him being this year's Dalton Knecht, I'm hoping he's this year's Chaz Lanier, baby.
Yeah.
I hope he's Chaz Lanier V1. Yeah,
that's a great way to put it. And, we see what Dalton Knecht's doing here with the Lakers, man. Right now, I haven't looked at the odds for Rookie of the Year, but
Jared McCain.
Yeah, that's the guy with the Sixers, right?
Yeah, with the TikTok, the dancing.
Yeah. Do you like his TikToks?
No, but I mean, I'm not like gonna down him for it. He's a killer on the court too.
I like his TikToks. I'm not gonna lie.
He's really funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the fact that he's just out here making TikToks like that, dancing and setting trends, and then he just comes and cooks you on the court is pretty freaking wild to me.
It is, but the Sixers are absolutely trash. So
yeah.
He could be a studio gangster. I mean, the Lakers are at least a play-in team at the worst right now.
Yeah.
And
Jared, go ahead.
What were you saying? I was just saying, you have Dalton Connect. I mean, he's contributing to a winning team, or more of a win. The Western Conference is always going to be tricky because, there's only going to be like five or six games separating the 1 and the 8 seed. But, I mean, at the very least, you have a chance to make the playoffs. The 76ers, I don't know the record right off the top of my head. Last time I checked, it was like 2-14. It was awful.
Yeah. Jared McCain minus 160, rookie of the year. Dalton Connect plus 450. As far as the MVP race, we got Jokic plus 180, SGA plus 350, and Tatum at plus 550.
Jokic is having his best year yet. And he could and should win his 4th MVP if he keeps this up. I've always been a Giannis. I love Jokic, but Giannis has been dominant, and so I think it could always be a toss-up. But the Bucks have to get a better record for that to happen.
Yeah, I think one of the craziest things I've ever seen from Jokic came with a shot that did not go in. Did you see him punch the ball full court and almost make it? That was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Yeah. I'll try to play the clip right here, maybe. But
I thought you were going to mention how when I think it was the playoffs when they swept the Lakers the year before last year, where he did a step. It was the year they won the championship, where he did a step back 3 on Anthony Davis.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. Just like over his head too. Like he was just falling back and.
I mean, he's wild. Insane. Yeah,
he's one of my favorite players to watch, just in general. I don't really like the Nuggets because of what they do to the Lakers all the time. But
post-traumatic stress.
Yeah, no, I really like watching Jokic play.
Yeah, man, for real. But yeah, man, NBA's looking cool. I'd really like to talk about NFL, man.
Me too.
It was a great few games.
We got a banger Thursday night, Jacob. I don't know if you knew that or not.
What, the Bears and the Lions?
No, this Thursday.
Oh, I thought you were talking about reviewing.
Yeah, no. Let's go ahead and review before we get into this game Thursday night, but I'm ready for it. So yeah, we had Thanksgiving. Did you have a good Thanksgiving? I meant to ask you to open up.
Yeah, it was great. I took a nap on the couch in here, and I watched the game. And then I woke up, and when everyone was already eating, I was like, thanks for waking me up.
Damn, they didn't. They started Thanksgiving dinner without you?
Well, my mom texted me saying it's ready, but she had no idea I was snoozed out on the couch right here. but when I went to bed, though, I say went to bed. When I fell asleep, it was like 16-7, I think. It was 16-7. The Bears were down to the Lions, and then I wake up and it's I forgot what the exact score was, but I think it was like 23-17 or so. What a disaster that last 35 seconds was, man.
What a disaster the Bears have been just in the last few weeks. I mean, it starts off with the Hail Mary to the Commanders that Jaden Daniels hit on them. And then you got the blocked field goal from, I think they lost to the Cardinals after that week too. And then you got the blocked field goal against the Packers. You lose. You had a timeout in your pocket, not in your pocket, but you could have ran another play to get a few more yards, set your kicker up with a better kick where he doesn't have to angle the trajectory as low. Which is something that the Packers took note of before the game started. The special teams coordinator came out and said to the team the night before, if we go through this whole game without a blocked field goal, I will be surprised, is what he said. And that's how they won the game, with a blocked field goal. And so you got that, and who did they play the week before? It was the Vikings. The Bears played the Vikings and lost it. Came back, tied it up, lost in overtime on a field goal. And now you got Matt Eberflus's time of reckoning, their head coach. It's 23-20. you're driving down the field, right? You're not necessarily in field goal range, but you can have another play to put yourself in field goal range with a timeout in your pocket. He chooses to run a play. Caleb gets sacked, knocks him further out of field goal range. And then instead of calling a timeout, getting everybody set, maybe having a play where you can, hit somebody on the sideline, stop the clock, maybe run the ball for a few yards, spike it, because you had, 25 seconds on the clock. And no, he gets sacked. Everybody lollygags up to the line. Caleb's making changes, audibles and stuff. You snap it with 5 seconds. 20 seconds ran off the clock. And Caleb drops back and tries to win the game on a throw. So Matt Eberflus got fired with a timeout still in his pocket. Somebody said he was saving it for his next job. But
yeah, that's crazy.
I don't know. It was a great game.
Is that a constant thing at every game? There's always a timeout left.
Yeah.
I get saving it for but you save it for that reason, for the final minute or so,
No, he still had it. He could have easily used it there in that last scenario. Decided not to, and it cost him the job. It cost him the game. It cost him the job.
Wow, so. That's insane. Well, obviously Lions took care of business. Then they look like they're on a trajectory towards the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but speaking of that game Thursday night I was talking about, Lions host the Packers. The
Rematch.
Lions have a lot of injuries defensively. Green Bay is cooking. Not only Jordan Love, Christian Watson looking good. Josh Jacobs, he's looking phenomenal right now. Phenomenal. So Lions still minus 3.5 at home. One thing I will say, Jacob. Matt LaFleur has never lost to two teams in the same year. I take that back. It's been a while. But I think
talking about the regular season?
Yeah, I think we did lose to the Lions twice in 1 year, a few years ago.
It's happening again.
Aaron Rodgers last year. So, anyways, Jordan Love has not lost to the same team twice in 1 year. So
it happens this year.
You think so? You think
Thursday night?
Think the Lions doing it to us?
Yeah, but I'm not going to be surprised. I just need a reason to. I need to see them lose before I say that they're going to lose.
Yeah, that's a good point. They're head and shoulders above pretty much everybody else. They're up there with the Chiefs, the Chiefs and the Bills. You could say Chiefs almost lost another one to Oakland. If it wasn't for a fumbled snap, they probably could have kicked a field goal.
Did you see that they called it an illegal shift so that it couldn't be overturned? It couldn't be like the play wouldn't have to be restarted.
Yeah.
If they called a false start, it would have been restarted. But they called it an illegal shift.
Yeah,
that way,
what you're talking about.
That way, the Eagle or the Chiefs could then decline the penalty and get the fumble.
Yeah,
that's just
it's crazy. I saw a ref get carted off the field in a complete other game, and it was a meme. Somebody said the Chiefs MVP out for the year.
He'll be back for the Super Bowl, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that too. That's crazy work. And man, I don't know. I don't like seeing Taylor Swift every few seconds. Nothing against her, but it's just annoying. If it was anyone else too, I'd feel the same way.
Bill Belichick feels the same way as you and everybody else. They were doing the Manning cast either last week or the week before, and it showed Taylor Swift, and he just went, ugh.
That's great.
Bill Belichick's funny as hell. I don't know if
he is.
That,
him and Saban, their post coaching tenures as like commentators. I like.
You know who's opened both of those guys up? Pause. But you know what I'm saying.
Time out. That's crazy.
Pat McAfee has been the one to get those guys going, and it's been fun to watch because Bill Belichick, Nick Saban started last year when he was still coaching with Alabama. He started joining Pat McAfee every Thursday as like a guest, and Bill Belichick's doing that this year along with Nick Saban. And then Nick Saban is also on the game day set with Pat and everybody. So it's Pat McAfee has restored ESPN. I know some people don't like to say that, but Pat McAfee I've been a fan of him for years now.
I mean, it really has been it's like a big culture shift, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, he's brought like a rawness. He's brought a rawness to it that's never been seen. So
yeah, shout out Pat McAfee and all the boys over there. They've gotten me through a lot. They're one of those. It's one of those shows where 3 hours a day, Monday through Friday. They give themselves a couple weeks off a year every now and then. But anytime I'm having a bad day or sad about something or not feeling good, turn that thing on, forget about some stuff. It's something I love to watch.
Yep.
I try to watch as much as I can. So.
Yeah, well, I'm predicting you're gonna have another reason to be sad this week because I think the Packers are gonna get blown out by the Lions. So
Yeah. You said that before, and we won. But it will be a good game. It will. I hope it's a good game. We played them a couple weeks ago in Lambeau, and it wasn't close from the beginning. But last year we played them in the first few weeks, got blown out at home, and then played them on Thanksgiving Day last year. And Jordan Love came out there in the Dome in Detroit and just lit them up. So
yeah.
And we're looking good. We're cooking right now, so I think we got a good shot to win that one.
I think another notable game, an unfortunate path for our friend Griffin. The Steelers beat the Bengals.
Yeah.
Wow. The Bengals fall to 4-8. It's
not looking good.
It's really not. Each game is like, okay, we really need this to go to the playoffs, and then it's like, well, there's our chances are just lowered.
Cincinnati is favored by a touchdown this week. Can you guess who they're playing? Monday Night Football?
I have it pulled up. So they play the Cowboys.
Yep. So I think they could win that one.
Yeah, they definitely could. I'm hoping they do. But haven't they already beat them once this year?
No, they don't. They're not in the same division.
Oh, I think that was the
once.
Jets. That was probably the Jets, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean I needed them to cover the spread, which they did. I think I had them at a plus 10, I think, and the whole time they were down by like 16, and then it's 13, and then they scored a touchdown at the end to make it a 6-point game. So
yeah, it was really a shootout in that game. It was what, 28-24 or 24-17 or something at half. Like
yeah, it was.
It was pretty crazy.
And same with the Ravens too. The Ravens drop another one. They're in the wild card as well. They dropped another one. I needed them for a plus 10 for the alternate spread, and they were down by I think it was 12 with 7 seconds left, and they scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
Really, a rather useless touchdown, but
not useless for you.
It was very useful for me. But let's not talk about how the rest of the parlay went with the Nuggets falling. But other than that, tonight we got the Browns and the Broncos. I'm hoping for a Broncos blowout.
A Broncout?
Yeah,
you riding with the horses?
Yeah.
Broncos at home -6.5 against the Cleveland Browns. Jameis Winston, though, you never know. You never know.
He's dynamic. That's for sure.
6.5 is a lot of points in the NFL. I'm not going to bet on that game. I might not even watch that game, but I'll probably have it on maybe.
Someone
Over
jump off sides.
41.5. Yeah.
You see that? Someone jump off sides. Damn.
Jameis Winston's freaking hilarious.
He is. But yeah, next
It's
week
not really,
we got Packers.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but I mean, next week we got Packers and the Lions. But then other than that, I mean, you got Jets and the Dolphins and the.
It's not a lot of great matchups.
Chargers and Chiefs could be a good one.
That is going to be a good one. Sunday night. Chiefs -3.5. Chargers at Chiefs.
I feel like I like the Chargers in that one.
I feel like I do too. I went with the Chargers against the Ravens last week. Did not work out for me. But the Chiefs, I feel like Chiefs are a team like they just play to their competition, like
for real.
So they might come out with the Chargers being a good team playing at home at Kansas City. They might come out and look very good. Isaiah Pacheco is back in the rotation after being on IR the whole year. He got some snaps last week against the Raiders in that 2-point win. So I don't know. I hate betting against the Chiefs. I've told myself time and time again I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes anymore. But I may take the Chargers plus 3.5, which is how close all the Chiefs games have been. The Chargers are no scrubs.
It's honestly, I mean, you're not, the way I look at it, you're not betting against Patrick Mahomes. You're betting, for the Chargers to at least be there, within the striking distance, just like how every other team has been. I mean, if the Raiders can lose by 2 points, I think so can the Chargers.
Yeah, but like I said, Kansas City might come out and turn it on. So, just give me the Chargers in that one, I guess.
And then the Bills are coming off a pretty one-sided victory yesterday. They played the 49ers.
In the snow, and we saw one of the best plays I've ever seen when Josh Allen threw it out on a hitch route to Amari Cooper. Cooper got stood up by 2 or 3 defenders, and Allen was kind of like just jogging that way after he threw it, and he ended up right behind Amari Cooper. He's like, hey, just pitch me the ball, dude. I'll take this. And Amari Cooper pitched it back to Josh Allen, and he ran it, 10 yards into the end zone, dove for the pylon. Like, Josh Allen's going to be the MVP this year.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's had a great year.
I know Saquon Barkley he's having a great year, but it's mainly a quarterback award these days. And, with the year the Bills are having, unless they lose a couple games here down the stretch that they shouldn't, maybe Josh Allen has a couple bad games or something, which he hasn't all year. I think he's bringing home that MVP.
Yeah, and he's my MVP for beating the Chiefs. So
yeah, true.
Always happy about that. But this week, the Bills, they play the Lions. No, that's the Rams. That's totally the week after that. Yeah, they play the Rams, and the Rams are. I mean, they're sneaky. That could be a trap game for the Bills, because Matt Stafford and everything. I don't think it is, but it could be. Odds are. Yeah,
I think we're gonna have to wrap it up right now, and then come back for the last segment here on $1 Million Radio. Well, Jacob, it's going to be a great weekend of football. We got the matchups we just talked about with the NFL. Conference Championship weekend is among us. Boise State and UNLV play 8 o'clock Eastern Friday night. Then on Saturday, it kicks off with the Big 12 Championship. That'll be at noon Eastern. Arizona State playing host to Iowa State. And then the SEC Championship Saturday afternoon, 3:30. That'll have Georgia and Texas duking it out in the best conference in the land. And then Saturday night will be the Big 10 Championship and the ACC Championship, right? So it'll be SMU and Clemson and Penn State and Oregon. And then when we get back together on Monday, Jacob, we will have the official bracket. I'm pretty sure it comes out Sunday. I could be wrong, but I'm 90% sure we'll have that bracket out Sunday. The official bracket, no more projections after this weekend. We get to finally set it in stone, see who's going on the road, who gets a home game in the first round, and who the top 4 seeds are as we make our way here at the end of the college football season. Any last words, Jacob?
No, I'm going to make my bracket, my prediction. Yeah. And I'm going to have it bracketed out with the people who win the conference championships and for the teams that I think are going to get in, whether they lose the conference championship or not. That could be a factor that I struggle with, if a team is going to make it in, if they lose that championship or not, because it could be different for each conference. So
we're basically just going to have a bracket of both of our predictions. And if you stay tuned here on $1 Million Radio, check our social media at MDMinds. Also, MDminds.com is our website. And we'll have those projections where you can look at it. You can call us clowns if you want. You can say, man, I agree with everything on here. Skylar, Jacob's a clown.
That's true.
I'm joking.
Very true.
All jokes.
Very
all
true.
Jokes. But yeah, that'll wrap it up for us. Do you have? Go ahead.
One last word. The All-State playoff predictor has Louisiana Raging Cajuns as a 2% chance to get in. So
who knows, man?
Keep that in mind.
Who knows?
Yeah. All right. Well, I have a $1 million radio song of the week.
Go ahead, buddy.
I'd like to share. Now this is just off the cuff, off the dome. I've not really thought about it or anything, but I'm gonna go with, oh man, My Own Summer by Deftones.
My Own Summer by Deftones. All right.
That's a banger.
Sounds like it. Deftones is real good. I'm going to throw mine back, Jacob. I'm going to throw it back. Get ready.
Pause.
Get ready. Tevin Campbell, Can We Talk? Do you know that one?
No, never heard of her.
No, it's a guy. It's a guy. Yeah, this is an old song. I was gonna say 90s. Came out in 2001, or is this the greatest hits? Yeah, this is a greatest hits album. Let me get the year on that. But it's oh my god, it's such a good song. Tevin Campbell, Can We Talk? Came out in 1993. So yeah, in the 90s. But it's a nice R&B, you know. Can we talk for a minute? Dude, it's such a good song. It's such a good song.
I'm sure it's a little better than that.
No, I did it justice right there. I did it justice. But yeah, so Can We Talk, Tevin Campbell. You had Deftones. What was the song?
My Own Summer, in parentheses, Shove It.
Ooh. Oh, Siri, stop it. Okay. My bad. But yeah, that's going to do it. Episode 14 of $1 Million Radio. Thanks for Jake.
We'll be back in person next week.
Absolutely. Back in person, back at it here in the studio next week. Griffin will be here, and we'll have the official bracket. I can't wait. And until then, I guess y'all just have a great week. Thanks for watching. And as always, we'll see you next time. All right. Uh-oh. Sorry, I can't even end it yet. We got a gun show going on.
I wish.